Hello, and welcome to this special virtual edition of the Rtdna Canada Central Regional Awards. Today we are celebrating the best of the best in broadcast and digital journalism. Now, it has been a challenging year in many ways, and we are happy to take the time to recognize the hard work of all our colleagues in newsrooms across the Central region. I'm Tracy Tong, multi-market anchor and producer at Global News. An Rtdna Award recognizes the achievements of the entire newsroom. Nothing reinforces our industry's commitment to excellence like the description award-winning. Rtdna Canada has been honoring the best in broadcast journalism for 50 years. We are proud to announce this year's winners. So let the awards begin. Here is the first award for the evening. Rtdna Canada's Lifetime Achievement Award is one of the highest honors bestowed by the association and is presented to individuals who have distinguished themselves through outstanding service and continued excellence during the course of their career in journalism or news management. The award is for lifetime achievement rather than for a single contribution. Nominees should have a minimum of 20 years of distinguished service to the industry. It gives me great pleasure to present the first Lifetime Achievement Award to Sharon Murphy. Currently Global's Senior Manager of Network Resources, Sharon Murphy started at Global Toronto as an intern. Now, Sharon has been the crucial behind-the-scenes support for most of the biggest news stories Canada has witnessed. And as a Network Resources Manager, she paves the way for pool coverage and consortium projects that benefit many news outlets and networks. As importantly, Sharon coordinates the Global News Internship Program, providing a first step for hundreds of young journalists, as she did for me many years ago. And there is not a TV newsroom in Canada that has not benefited from Sharon's skill, strength, attention to detail, all the while focusing on the humanity of what we do. Congratulations, Sharon.
I want to thank the Rtdna for this honor. It's both surprising and overwhelming. I'd also like to thank my global colleagues for nominating me for this award. I was lucky enough to start at Global News as an intern more than 35 years ago, and I've had many amazing opportunities over those years, from covering the World Series to royal visits and elections and special events that are way too many to count. I've worked with some of the best in the business, both in front and behind the camera, from managers to anchors and reporters to cameramen, editors, feed rooms, control rooms, assignment desks, truck operators, and EAs, just to name a few that help make every production a success. This pandemic has been challenging and brought about one of the biggest collaborations amongst the networks as we pull thousands of COVID updates from all levels of government across the country. The resources teams at all the networks working together each day. And I appreciate all those teams and how well we help each other. This can be a very demanding business that's definitely not 9 to 5. So I'd like to thank my family, my husband Jerry, my kids Ryan, Dylan, and Cassidy for always being so supportive and understanding. Thank you so much for this recognition.
We are pleased to present the second Lifetime Achievement Award to Liz Travers. Liz has done it all. She has done local news, national news, morning television, current affairs, digital news, and 24-hour news. She has done startups like Global Quebec and Pop Life, and managed Canadian institutions like Canada AM. As a boss and a mentor, she has hired, trained, advised, and coached interns, reporters, producers, editors, camera people, and talent all over the country. She is revered by all those who had the pleasure of working with or for her. We are delighted to celebrate Liz Travers for her dedication and service to Canadian broadcasting.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say how incredibly overwhelmed and honored I am by this award. When you receive a Lifetime Achievement Award, it really tells you two things. One, it reminds me of all the opportunities I've had to work with so many outstanding people over the years. And the second, I'm really old. The fact that this comes from the Rtdna means so much because it's an organization that's been close to my heart since I was kind of roped into organizing the conference in Montreal in 2000. Now, those were the days that the Lifetime Achievement Award speeches actually lasted a lifetime. But I promise this one will be different. What means the most to me about all this is that it tells me that I did make a difference. And some of the people have become lifelong friends, from seasoned journalists to my millennials who want to change the world. All of them have one thing in common: a commitment to the highest standards of our craft. And the thing that meant the most to me was watching young journalists hungry to tell a story reach their potential. So I want to say thank you to the board for this award, and I want to say thank you to everybody who I've had the privilege to work with, because I've had so much fun along the way. Cheers, and on to my next life.
Now we are honored to present the 2021 Rtdna Canada Awards for the Best in Video, Audio, and Digital Journalism, first published in 2020 in the Central Region, comprising Ontario and Quebec. There are some major changes to our awards and categories this year, as well as the way they have been named. Awards are no longer named for journalists, but in ways to better reflect the qualities of the work being recognized. Journalists who had been recognized by having an award named in their honor will be added to our Hall of Fame, which is coming to the Rtdna website soon. The first platform we will be awarding is video. Our first category is audio-visual storytelling in a large market, and the three nominees are CBC Ottawa, Mustafa's Journey; CBC Indigenous, Epidemic at Sandpoint; and CBC Montreal, Quebec City Attack, How the Evening Unfolded. And the award goes to CBC Ottawa, Mustafa's Journey. We have three finalists for the award for breaking news in a large market. CTV News Toronto, Downtown Crane Collapse on July 16, 2020. CBC Toronto, Iran Plane Crash. City News Toronto, Rail Blockades Paralyze Rush Hour Commuter Traffic. And the award goes to CTV News Toronto, Downtown Crane Collapse. In breaking news for small or medium market, we have one finalist, and therefore the winner is Global Peterborough, Kawartha Lake Shooting. And moving along to continuing coverage, we have three nominees. CTV Montreal, 30 years after the Oka crisis. Oka crisis, 30 years later. CTV News Toronto, child killed in shooting. And CBC Toronto, long-term care homes during COVID-19. The award goes to CTV Montreal, Oka crisis, 30 years later. For Best Enterprise in Video, the nominees are CTV News Toronto, Face Coverings on Public Transit; City News Toronto, Collecting Race-Based COVID-19 Data; CBC Toronto, Stopping Domestic Violence. The award here goes to CTV News Toronto, Face Coverings on Public Transit. Cutting over to Excellence in Editing in a Large Market, the three nominees are CBC Toronto, COVID-19, The Race for a Vaccine; CBC Ottawa, Paid to Play, How Some Ottawa Gamers Are Making a Living Doing What They Love; CBC Montreal, How Risky is Returning to Routine in Montreal Right Now. And the award goes to CBC Toronto, COVID-19, The Race for a Vaccine. And for Excellence in Editing in a Small or Medium Market, the nominees are CBC Windsor, Real-Life Superheroes Don Masks and Capes to Help the Homeless; Global Peterborough, Kawartha Nordic Ski Club, and the award goes to CBC Windsor, Real-Life Superheroes Don Masks and Capes to Help the Homeless. The award for Excellence in Innovation is sponsored by DeGero. The nominees are CBC London, How Can You Be a Better Ally to Black Londoners; CBC Montreal, Keep on Trucking; and TVO, Dealing with COVID-19 Skeptics. The award here goes to CBC London, How Can You Be a Better Ally to Black Londoners. For Excellence in Sound, there is one finalist, and therefore the award goes to CBC Toronto, 97-year-old singer. Our next award is for Excellence in Sports Reporting in Video, and the finalists are City News Toronto, The Cost of One Word; CTV Montreal, Not Your Typical Hockey Team, Blind Hockey; and CBC Toronto, Former NHL Player Establishes BIPOC Youth Hockey Team. The award goes to City News Toronto for The Cost of One Word. For the Excellence in Video Award, we have three finalists here. CBC Montreal, What caused a 140-car pileup on Montreal's South Shore? CTV Montreal, how to self-isolate, ups and downs of confinement. And CTV Ottawa, Home Sweet Home, how to set up a home office. The award goes to CBC Montreal, what caused a 140-car pileup on Montreal's South Shore. Turning now to the award for feature news in a large market. The nominees are City News Toronto, exclusive, visiting a former Ontario residential school. CBC Ottawa, paid to play, how some Ottawa gamers are making a living doing what they love. City News Montreal, Iran plane crash twin brother. And the award goes to City News, exclusive, visiting a former Ontario residential school. In the category of feature news in a smaller medium market, the nominees are CTV News Windsor, devastating loss, family struggle with AIDS. CTV Kitchener, behind the scenes of the Cambridge Memorial Hospital ICU. And Global Peterborough, out and about, online business. The award goes to CTV News Windsor, devastating loss, family struggle with AIDS. And looking at the category for best graphics in a large market, the nominees are CBC Ottawa, Mustafa's Journey. CTV Ottawa graphics. And CBC Toronto, Green Means Go, pandemic threat levels explained. The award goes to CBC Ottawa, Mustafa's Journey. Now looking into the category for Best Investigative in Video, we have 3 finalists. City News Toronto, Unrepentant, Pedophile Priest. CBC Toronto, University of Toronto Parking Scam. And CBC Ottawa, how did SNC-Lavalin win the bid for the Trillium Line extension? The award goes to City News Toronto, Unrepentant, Pedophile Priest. Turning to news, live special events. There are 3 nominees in this category. City News Toronto, Ending Racism, What Will It Take? CBC Ottawa, Black Lives Matter March, CBC Ottawa News at 6. And CBC Windsor, Windsor mourns the victims in Iran plane crash. And the award here goes to City News Toronto, Ending Racism, What Will It Take? For Best Opinion in Video, the nominees are Global News, The Unquantifiable Loss of the Iran Plane Crash. City News Toronto, Looks Like Me. Global Montreal, Everyday Joe, Class of 2020. The award goes to Global News, The Unquantifiable Loss of the Iran Plane Crash. And our final categories this evening in TV newscast for large market. The nominees are CTV Ottawa, City News Toronto, and CTV News Toronto. The award goes to CTV Ottawa. The 3 finalists for TV newscast in a small or medium market are CTV Kitchener, CTV London, and Global Peterborough. The award here goes to CTV Kitchener. We now want to recognize our award winners from audio platforms. We start with the nominees in the Best Podcast category, where we have 4 finalists. Global News, Whatever Happened to, ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. CBC Toronto, Here and Now, Masters of Reinvention, Pandemic Rising. CBC Windsor, Picking Up the Pieces. And News Talk 1010, Run This Town, the Rob Ford movie. The award goes to Global News, Whatever Happened to, ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Next up, we have breaking news in a large market, and there are 3 nominees. News Talk 580 CFRA, breaking news, Airbnb shooting. CBC Montreal, Quebec shuts down as COVID spreads. And CBC Toronto, COVID-19 state of emergency. The award goes to News Talk 580 CFRA, breaking news, Airbnb shooting. On to the award for continuing coverage. The finalists are CBC Quebec, Justice for Joyce. CBC Sudbury, Indigenous Policing, Eric White. CBC Quebec, Halloween attack in Old Quebec Rattle City. The award goes to CBC Quebec, Justice for Joyce. The next award is for Enterprise Audio, and there are 3 nominees. CBC Ottawa, 3 Days at Pigeon Lake. News Talk 1010, The Kids Are Not Okay, The COVID Effect on Post-Secondary Students, Ashley Legasic. CBC Sudbury, Disconnect, Eric White. The award goes to CBC Ottawa, 3 Days at Pigeon Lake. Now we have the award for excellence in editing in a large market, and the 2 nominees are CBC Montreal, How to Host an Online Cocktail Party While Social Distancing. CBC Toronto, Metro Morning, Dog Groomers Reopen. The award goes to CBC Montreal, How to Host an Online Cocktail Party While Social Distancing. The award for excellence in innovation is sponsored by DeGero. There is 1 finalist, and therefore the winner is CBC Montreal, The Importance of Transparent Masks for the Deaf Community. Moving along to the award for excellence in sound. The nominees are CBC Sudbury, Songs of Ice, Marcus Schwabe. CBC Toronto, Fresh Air, Emo Pride Parade. CBC Windsor, musicians find a way to play together during the pandemic and create a music video in the process. The award goes to CBC Sudbury, Songs of Ice, Marcus Schwabe. And the 3 finalists for excellence in sports reporting are CBC Ontario Smaller Markets, Mount Forest Black Flashes, the Rural Ontario Black Hockey Line, which broke barriers. CBC Sudbury, Moose Factory Scrappers, Eric White. CBC Sudbury, Run for Steve, Martha Dillman. The award goes to CBC Ontario Smaller Markets, Mount Forest's Black Flashes, the Rural Ontario Black Hockey Line, which broke barriers. Next, we honor the nominees for Best Feature News in a large market. News Talk 1010, Kitchen Party Comfort, After the Shooting, How Nova Scotia Mourned Online with a Song. CBC Toronto, Metro Morning, Life Under the Bridge. CBC Montreal, Remembering Mr. Young. The award goes to News Talk 1010, Kitchen Party Comfort, After the Shooting, How Nova Scotia Mourned Online with Song. And in feature news for a smaller media market, the nominees are CBC London, What's in a Name? Why Pronouncing Names Matter. CBC Ontario Smaller Markets, Seniors Tackle Stress, Isolation, and Pandemic Park Workouts. CBC Sudbury, Adam Ranger by Marcus Schwabe. The award here goes to CBC London, What's in a Name? Why Pronouncing Names Matter. The 4 nominees for Award for Investigative Audio are Global News Radio, Care Gone Wrong. CBC Quebec, George Hervey Awashish, Atikamek man flees hospital, later returns and dies. CBC Sudbury, Somebody's Someone, Kate Rutherford. CBC Windsor, Windsor police first to respond to at least 14 overdose calls without life-saving drug that could prevent them. The award goes to Global News Radio, Care Gone Wrong. Next, we have the award for Audio News, Live Special Events. The nominees are City News, Celebrating Pride in a Pandemic, special live coverage with Sam Laprade and Jason White. CBC Toronto, Here and Now, Budget Special. CBC London, the NYE CBC Radio Talent Show. The award goes to City News, Celebrating Pride in a Pandemic. And celebrating the best in opinion writing in audio, the nominees are CBC Ottawa, Cleaning Spit and Snot Off the Pumps, Ottawa Morning. CBC Montreal, How a Black Montreal Comedian Got His Point Across About the N-Word Controversy. News Talk 580 CFRA, Let Me See My Dying Mother. The award goes to CBC Ottawa, Cleaning Spit and Snot Off the Pumps, Ottawa Morning. The finalists for radio newscast in a large market are News Talk 1010, Ontario State of Emergency, Russ Courtney, 10 a.m. News. CBC Montreal, CBC Montreal Radio Newscast, July 7th, 2020. 680 News, 680 News on March 12th, 2020. The award goes to News Talk 1010, Ontario State of Emergency, Russ Courtney. And for radio newscast in a small or medium market, the nominees are CBC Quebec, A City in Shock on November 2nd, 2020. CBC Windsor, 7:30 News on July 17th, 2020. 900 CHML, News at 4:30 p.m. on December 22nd, 2020. And the award goes to CBC Quebec, A City in Shock. And the last platform of our award celebration is digital news. Our first award is for breaking news in a large market. The nominees are CBC News Toronto, COVID-19 State of Emergency. CBC Quebec, Quebec City sword attack on Halloween night. The award goes to CBC News Toronto, COVID-19 State of Emergency. Next up is breaking news in a small or medium market. There is one finalist, and the winner is CBC Hamilton. Notorious Hamilton mobster Pat Musitano gunned down in Burlington, Ontario. We now present the award for continuing coverage, and the three nominees are CBC Quebec, Crisis in Quebec's Long-Term Care Homes. CBC London, Roaring Cat Retreat, Ontario's own Tiger King. CBC Indigenous, First Nations Land Reclamation Camp in Caledonia. The award goes to CBC Quebec, Crisis in Quebec's Long-Term Care Homes. The four nominees for enterprise reporting are CBC London, A Spy Pen Changed Her Life and the Law. CBC Ottawa, Racism in the Valley. CBC Quebec, Montreal's poorest and most racially diverse neighborhoods hit hardest by COVID-19. CBC Windsor, Stopping Domestic Violence. The award goes to CBC London, A Spy Pen Changed Her Life and the Law. The nominees for excellence in data storytelling are CBC Quebec's COVID-19 Questionnaire Project, CTV Ottawa, 50 Years of the Rideau Canal Skateway, and the award goes to CBC Quebec's COVID-19 Questionnaire Project. Our next award is for excellence in social, and the nominees are CBC Toronto, COVID-19 Silver Linings. CTV Ottawa Halloween Home Tour. CTV Ottawa, Ultimate Takeout Friday 2.0. And the winner is CBC Toronto, COVID-19 Silver Linings. Moving on to excellence in sports reporting, the nominees are CBC Indigenous, I Don't Want Racism in the Sport I Love. First Nations hockey players in Quebec are taping their sticks red to take a stand against racial slurs. CBC Quebec, I loved the game, but the game didn't love me. How hockey shaped one of NHL's first black players on and off the ice. CBC London, Racism on the Pitch. The award goes to CBC Indigenous. Next up is feature news in a large market, and the nominees are CBC Toronto, Her Final Hours. Global Montreal, Coronavirus Pandemic, Montreal's Lockdown in Pictures. The award here goes to CBC Toronto, Her Final Hours. And the nominees for feature news in a small or medium market are CBC London, Dudley George's fight continues 25 years after his death. CBC Ontario Smaller Markets, 20 years since Walkerton, locals reflect on town's water crisis. CBC Hamilton, a year without Devon. Selvey family feels loss every day as anniversary of his death approaches. The award goes to CBC London, Dudley George's fight continues 25 years after his death. The nominees for Best Investigative Digital Reporting are Global Toronto, Institute for Investigative Journalism, and APTN News. Former Nescandiga contractor accused of cutting corners in other First Nations. CBC Indigenous, award-winning filmmaker Michelle Latimer's Indigenous identity under scrutiny. CBC Windsor, without naloxone in hand, Windsor cops first to respond to at least 14 drug overdose calls. The award here goes to Global Toronto, Institute for Investigative Journalism, and APTN News. Our next award recognizes excellence in opinion writing for the digital platform. And the nominees are TVO, Nam Kiwanuka, column. TVO, John Michael McGrath, Queen's Park column. CBC Quebec, Why I Hid My Hair and My Smile, or Why Black Lives Matter Shouldn't Just Be a Trend. The award goes to TVO, Nam Kiwanuka. And our final category tonight in digital recognizes overall excellence. We have 3 finalists. CTV Kitchener, ctvnewskitchener.ca. CBC Quebec, CBC Quebec Digital Platforms. CBC Toronto, covering 2020. The award goes to CTV Kitchener, ctvnewskitchener.ca. In closing, these Central Region winners will now compete with winners from the Prairies, West, and East regions for the Best Canadian Local News Awards. Those winners will be announced at the virtual Rtdna Canada 2021 National Conference and Awards Gala on Thursday, June 3rd. Thank you for joining us for the Central Region Rtdna Awards presentation. We want to thank the judges who so generously gave their time and experience, and to all the newsrooms who entered this year's competition. Please keep the Rtdna Awards in mind whenever you do something you feel is deserving of recognition. Good luck, and again, congratulations to all the winners. Thanks, everyone.